Hey YouTube, Kira Twig here, bringing you all my Phantom Beast Yu-Gi-Oh deck profile for post the Duelist Nexus. I never thought we would ever get any more support for the Chimera, the Flying Mythical Beast lineup. You can call it the Phantom Beast deck, the Mythical Beast deck, the Chimera deck, whatever you want to call it, but the official term for the deck is the Phantom Beasts deck, and with it we introduce a new type to Yu-Gi-Oh as well, the Illusion type of monster. This whole deck focuses on being able to special summon out the many different types of illusion monsters that we got from the newest Yu-Gi-Oh booster pack, along with making use of some of the old favorites like Gazelle, King of Mythical Beasts, and Bephermet as well. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. This one's more of a pure build. They're always my favorite to make on the channel. I know a lot of people are trying this deck out with branded as well. Maybe I'll try one of those lineups in the future, but for now we're sticking to the pure lineups. Let's go ahead and get started. So for the main deck monsters, I'm running the one copy of Gazelle, King of Mythical Beasts, and also the one copy of Bephermet. You have both of these cards in the deck because you have the special summon options for some of your other cards in the deck to get these cards out onto the field, making use of them, and also our original fusion monster being our Chimera, the Flying Mythical Beast, to summon these cards out onto the field. And you really only need the one copies. You have cards that can, like I said, special summon them back and forth from the deck, and then also having that fusion play or just materials on the field to make use of also. For the new monsters, I run 3 copies of Gazelle, the King of Mythical Claws. If this card is normal or special summon, you can add 1 level 5 Fiend monster or 1 Chimera Fusion from your deck to your hand. If this card is sent to the graveyard as material for a fusion summon, you can add 1 Illusion monster from your deck to your hand. You can only use each effect of Gazelle, King of Mythical Claws once per turn, so you have a good number of monsters to add for the Illusion lineup, whether it be your Mere Sword Knight or even the new Nightmare Magician, which is also an illusion monster. But the main search is to either get out your big winged Bephermet off of this card or the fusion spell, which can help with a lot of your summoning plays in the deck as well. So it's a definite 3 of to run. We're also running 3 copies of our big winged Bephermet. With this card, if it's normal or special summon, you can add 1 level 4 Beast monster and or Chimera Fusion from your deck to your hand. So vice versa, Gazelle can search out Bephermet and Bephermet can search out Gazelle. And also, you cannot special summon from the X deck for the rest of this turn, except for fusion monsters. If this card's sent to the graveyard as material for a fusion summon, you can target 1 illusion monster in your graveyard and special summon it. So you have a special summon from your graveyard for your illusion monsters. So both work very, very well back and forth with one another, having the search option for your fusion play, and then whenever you add it to your hand, being able to use it for the fusion summon. I also run 3 copies of the new Cornfield Kotal. If this card battles a monster, neither can be destroyed by battle. You can only use each of the following effects of Cornfield Kotal once per turn. You can discard this card and add 1 monster that mentions Chimera Fusion from your deck to your hand, except for Cornfield Kotal. And when your opponent activates a card or effect that targets a card you control, while you control Chimera, the Flying Mythical Beast, quick effect, you can banish this card from your field or graveyard, negate that effect, and if you do, destroy that card. So you just have a target negate because the new fusion monsters all count as Chimera, the Flying Mythical Beast, while on the field or in the graveyard, having the search option for also Big Wing Bephermet or our new Gazelle as well, since they both contain Chimera Fusion in the card text with this card. And also 3 copies of Mere Sword Knight, this new level 4 illusion monster. If it battles a monster, neither can be destroyed by that battle, which seems to be the theme that the illusion monsters have, being just that, an illusion. You can only use each of the following effects of Mere Sword Knight once per turn. Quick effect, you contribute this card to special summon 1 monster from your deck that mentions Chimera Fusion, except for Mere Sword Knight. And when a monster your opponent control activates its effect while you control Chimera, the Flying Mythical Beast, you can banish this card from your graveyard to negate that effect. Just like Cornfield Kotal, more activated, negated effects thanks to this card. And then also just being able to tribute it to special summon either your Big Wing Bephermet or your Gazelle onto the field to then also activate their own card effects, since they are when either they are normal or special summoned. And then for added power for the illusion monsters, I run 2 copies of Nightmare Magician. If this card battles a monster, neither can be destroyed by that battle. At the end of the damage step, if this card battles an opponent's monster, you can take control of that opponent's monster. And once per turn at the start of the damage step, if another monster attacks, you can destroy 1 card on the field. So you have a destruction play, being able to take resources away from your opponent, and having an illusion monster that not only can be used as fusion material for our go-to Chimera, the Illusion Beast, since we need a Chimera, the Flying Mythical Beast, and 1 illusion monster. Then you have ways to summon it back onto the field from the graveyard, being an illusion monster in your graveyard that you set up there to then use, but also extend your plays with the monsters you take from your opponent or destroying their own cards. And I also run 3 copies of King of the Swamp. I do run Polymerization as an added fusion target in the deck, so just having a discard for that is always a big search there. But also just being able to have a card to then substitute a fusion material for our Chimera, the Flying Mythical Beast, is an added bonus in and of itself for this card, but it's mostly used for the Polymerization search. I also run 3 copies of Edge of Chain. This card is a Fiend monster, which you also need to summon out your Chimera, the King of Phantom Beasts, just needing a Beast monster and a Fiend monster. So if you don't have your Bephomet play, you do have Edge of Chain to rely on for the added search, and it's also searchable off of one of the spells that we run in the deck as well, with the last of the main deck monsters being 3 copies of Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. Hand trap of choice. I'm not running a huge lineup because I want the majority of the focus to be on the, monsters that we can special summon out from the extra deck, but still good to have a little bit of a hand trap option to stop our opponent if we do end up going second against them. That is it for the main deck monsters. Moving on now to the spells. I run 3 copies of Chimera Fusion. During the main phase, fusion summon 1 fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field as material, including a beast or fiend monster. During your main phase, if this card is in your graveyard and you have Chimera, the Flying Mythical Beast on your field or in your graveyard, you can activate one of these effects. You can add this card to your hand, or you can banish this card to special summon both 1 Gazelle, King of Mythical Beasts, and 1 Bephomet from your deck and or graveyard. You can only use this effect of Chimera Fusion once per turn, but you have your fusion play, and it's also the justification why I run the 1 copy of Bephomet and also Gazelle in the deck for you to use on the field. And then also the summon of Bephomet onto the field, and Gazelle gives you 2 resources for you to use with your Chimera Fusion. And also the 2 copies of Polymerization, just more search with our King of the Swamp, and then being able to go into the many different fusion plays that we have in the deck, and also the 3 copies of Fright for Patchwork. This card just can search out the Polymerization and also the Edge of Chain. It's just a plus with that being your goal, adding these cards to your hand, having your Fiend monster needed for your fusion summon, and then the Polymerization also, and then also being able to replace your Bephomet also for the summon, or any of the other Fiend monsters also in the deck. You don't really have much of a search option aside from the Fright for Patchwork, but you can then just use that card again after using the Send to the Graveyard off of Edge of Chain, which is always a nice engine to run. And then for the rest of the spell lineup, the 1 copy of Monster Reborn, just being able to special summon some cards back into the field, especially our new go-to Nightmare Magician is a great plus as well once this card's on the field. And then also the 1 copy of Call by the Grave, along with the 2 copies of Triple Tactics Talent for the added monster effect if your opponent uses it on your turn to activate this, giving you more draw power, or taking your opponent's resources, or taking one from their hand as well. With the only trap that I run in the deck being the 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. There were some other cards like Horn of the Phantom Beast, but it just doesn't add as much power-wise. You have more to rely on with your actual fusion monsters, and not needing to, increase their attack or anything like that with any of the Horn of the Phantom Beasts, or, cards that you could run potentially. Maybe I would have if we had more of a Phantom Beast search in the deck to use, but it's mostly just the Chimera Fusion search and the use of Polymerization also. And that is it for the main deck. We'll now move on to the extra deck. I run the 1 copy of Chimera, the Flying Mythical Beast. It's in here as an added fusion play to go into, just needing your Gazelle, King of Mythical Beasts, and also your Bephomet onto the field to summon out this card. And also, ideally, do want 2 copies of Chimera, the King of Phantom Beasts. There is another card that I am trying out in the deck and substituting for the play, which is Magnum the Reliever, needing 1 monster special summon from the X deck and 1 monster in the hand. So you have a good majority of monsters that you run in the X deck in this deck, and then just being able to recycle your polymerizations with this card as well. But our main play is Chimera, the King of Phantom Beasts, needing 1 beast monster and 1 fiend monster. This card's name becomes Chimera, the flying mythical beast, while on the field or in the graveyard. You can only use each of the following effects of Chimera, the King of Phantom Beasts, once per turn. If this card is fusion summoned, you can activate this effect to send 1 random card from your opponent's hand to the graveyard, and during the end phase of this turn, during your opponent's turn, quick effect, you can banish this card with this play. You send 1 random card from your opponent's hand during the end phase, so with that, you get rid of a card in their hand, and then also during your opponent's turn, you can banish this card from your graveyard to target 1 beast, fiend, or illusion monster in your graveyard and special summon it. So for the fact that it is also an illusion monster, you can summon back the Nightmare Magician that you could potentially use for some of your plays back onto the field as well, giving you more of a protection lineup since the battle that it has when this card battles a monster on that play, but also with this card, once per turn at the start of damage step, being able to, if another monster attacks, destroy 1 card on the field. And also the 2 copies of Chimera, the Illusion Beast. I have another Magnum the Reliever in this position here, but you can just replace them with the needed Phantom Beast cards. And also you could potentially take out some of the other fusions we run if you wanted to main deck Magnum the Reliever to begin with. But with Chimera, the Illusion Beast, you need 1 Chimera, the Flying Mythical Beast, and 1 Illusion Monster. So it's another way to set up some of our illusion monsters like Nightmare Magician in the graveyard for us to use. This card's name becomes Chimera, the Flying Mythical Beast, while in the field or in the graveyard once again. And also this card can attack monsters a number of times in the battle phase up to the number of materials used for it, because it says 1 or more illusion monsters, so you don't need just the 1. As long as you have multiples to use, you can use them to make this fusion card. And if this card battles a monster, neither can be destroyed by that battle. At the end of the damage step, if this card battled an opponent's monster, you can change that opponent's attack monster to 0 and negate its effects. It's got 3100 attack, but then also just make it so your other monsters in the deck, like your King of Phantom Beasts, to then easily swing into that monster to begin with. And I also run the 1 Guardian Chimera, the 1 Mud Dragon, the 1 Predoplant Dragostapelia, and the 1 Starving Venom Fusion Dragon for added fusion lineup. If you wanted to keep the Magnum the Reliever in the extra deck, you could just take out one of these 4 fusion monsters for a copy of that card, with the other extra deck spots being the 1 copy of Nightmare Phoenix, the 1 copy of Nightmare Cerberus, as I just reversed those names there, the 1 Cross Sheep, the 1 IP Masquerena, the 1 Nightmare Unicorn, and the 1 Apollosa Bow of the Goddess. And then as for some of the go-to plays in the deck, it's really crazy just how much of a setup you can do with 1 card. Let's say you just have the Mere Sword Knight in your hand. With this card, you can tribute this card to special summon 1 monster from your deck that mentions the Chimera Fusion spell. So then with this card, you can tribute this card out and then special summon that monster from your deck. So with that tribute, you can summon out your big winged bear format onto the field. With your bear format on the field, you then have your summon when it's normal or special summon to add 1 level 4 beast monster and or Chimera Fusion from your deck to your hand. So you got the summon of your level 5 monster. You can then add your Gazelle, King of Mythical Claws, and then also the Chimera Fusion from your deck to your hand, having the fusion card needed for the play as well. And then if this card is sent to the graveyard as material for a fusion monster, you can target an illusion monster in your graveyard and special summon it. So then you can activate your Chimera Fusion, fusing together your Gazelle, King of Mythical Claws, and your Big Wing Baphomet. So then you get out your fusion monster, which is the Chimera, King of Phantom Beasts. Then you have the activated effects of both of your monsters. Gazelle, if it's sent to the graveyard as material for a fusion summon, you can add an illusion monster from your deck to your hand. So then you can add your Nightmare Magician or your Cornfield Kotal, whichever you prefer for that search, but you can add the Nightmare Magician in this play. And then also with the Big Wing Baphomet, if it's sent to the graveyard as material for a fusion summon, you can target an illusion monster in your graveyard and special summon it. So then you have the Mere Sword Knight to summon out on the field again. With that, you have the tribute for the following turn, because it is a quick effect for this card to then have the summon, and also the added graveyard effect while you control your Chimera, the flying mythical beast. But if you wanted to add either, you have the graveyard setup of your Cornfield Kotal, because then you have the send play to add a monster that mentions Chimera Fusion, so then you can re-add another copy of one of the Phantom Beasts while setting up your Cornfield Kotal in the graveyard to begin with. So then the following turn, you contribute out your Mere Sword Knight, giving you another summon of one of your Phantom Beast monsters onto the field, giving you both of those illusion monsters in the graveyard to have the added negated effects of your opponent. And then the following turn, being able to add back the Chimera Fusion to then use as another fusion play with the Nightmare Magician if you added this in your hand instead of the Cornfield Kotal, and you just needed the one Mere Sword Knight in your graveyard play to then fuse these two cards together for the summon of your monster onto the field, needing the bigger summon of your boss monster being the Chimera, the Illusion Beast. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed. I also noticed that I may have been, mispronouncing your Baphomet during the video, so definitely do apologize about that as well. I can never get the name right whenever I try to pronounce it. Gazelle is definitely a lot easier, but I hope you all enjoyed the video. And as always, until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and Kira Twig out.